Hello and welcome to the sportsbreaks.com Tour Series round one. We are in Guisborough and the elite men about to take the start. 1 hour and 5 laps of racing awaits the riders to kick off this year's Tour Series. Thanks for your company. Martin McDonald with you to take you through the elite men's race. If you missed the women's race, don't worry, won't give you any spoilers, but can update you that Grace Lister is okay after a tumble. Had a message from Simon House from the Canvas Basso team. Let's run you through your teams and who you are going to see in action in this one here this evening. So on the start line, and you're in for a treat if you've not seen live coverage of the Tour Series before. Ribble, Well-Tight, Finn Crockett, Cameron Jeffers, Matt King, Harry Tanfield and Charlie Tanfield are in the team for them. With Sun Gods, Jacob Scott, Jim Brown, Matthew Gibson, Matthew Bostock, and the Mean Machine himself, Thomas Mean, taking the starts. The Wales Racing Academy had a great series last year. Joe Holt, Owain Roberts, William Truelove, William Roberts, and Josh Tarling. Watch out for him in this series. He has got some power as Josh Tarling. Team Spectra, Wiggle Vitus, Ben Chilton, Dan Barnes, Freddie Sheshka, legend of the Tour Series himself, Isaac Mundy, Mikey Mottram. The team from Techers, Alec Briggs, the most successful individual Tour Series rider of all time, John Mould, Ben Tucker, we've got Noah Hobbs and Neil Phillips from St. Piran, Charles Page, Tom and Leon Mazzoni, Stephen Bradbury and Teo Obholzer. From Trinity Racing, Cameron Mason. From Scotland, we are almost ready to race, Aidan Lawrence, Oliver Rees and Max Walker. From Embark Bike Strong, James Bevan, Tom Cousins, Bryn Davis, Cal Davis, and Ewan, is it Ewan Evans? Apologies if I'm saying that wrong. Team PB Performers, James Bentley, Kieran Riley, Tom Sharples, Max Silliphant, and Chris Walkinshaw. The Global 6-teamer, Miguel Fernandez, Connor Schunk, Clean Watts, and Alex Williams. The no-pins are here. Matt Wills, Cameron McLaren, Dave Roper, Lucas Beam, and Harry Green. From the SRCT Muck-Off team, Matt Warhurst, Matt Ellis, Thomas Lowder, Scott Redding, and Luke Norris. From I5, I3, our final team, there they are in the red, Harrison Hunter, Joe Schillerbeer, Harry Dukes, Rob McPherson, and Jordan Retalak. That is all of your riders. So 3 minutes away from race start here in Guisborough for round one. If you weren't with the elite women's race, 12 corners, a technical course that we have around the market town here in Guisborough. And we have a sighting lap, so it will give you an opportunity just to see what is a very tight, very technical circuit. So watch out for that. The sprint laps, we have 3 sprint laps, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 points on offer on the sprint laps. And we have that individual sprints jersey, always highly fought over. When we were here last year, it was River Well-Tight, the team there in the blue and orange, that took the general classification by just 1 point ahead of Canyon DHB Sun God. The Wales Racing Academy 3rd, Crimson Orientation Marketing were 4th, Spectra Wiggle Vitus 5th, Scotland was 6th, Techers 7th, St. Piran 8th, Spirit Bontrager were 9th, and Richardson's Trek were 10th. And then you go through the history of the Tour Series. Raf Condor Sharp, Endura, Madison Genesis, Canyon DHB, and Canyon Iceberg as well have won this series over the year. Last year, the sprints were won by Matt Gibson. He won the sprints classification. We're almost there, almost ready to go. Inside a minute to the start. Coming up the clock just above, we're going to have about 30 seconds to the start. We did have a few little rain spots that were just starting to fall through the women's race. So hopefully that holds off as well for the men's race.
Good luck to all of our riders here tonight. Good people of Guisborough, now is the time in 10, 9.
10-second countdown for the riders. It's about 9 degrees Celsius now, and we are away. We're off for our sighting lap. So the riders just getting themselves, trying to get themselves in and on the back of that bike, just to give themselves that opportunity just to be able to get the jump when the bike pulls away. So the course down through Westgate. So we start here, we have a little kink to the right, then one to the left, and then down a little right into Church Street, and then a sweeping left-hander when we hit Redcar Road. And then at the end of Redcar Road, it is a tight left into Walker's Row. So lining up for the left-hander. So everyone just trying to get themselves into position on the back of the bike. So just picking out your jersey. So St. Piran are the team in black with that Cornish tartan on the cuffs of the jersey. It's Stephen Bradbury, you can see there, just tightening his shoes up for St. Piran. They're a former sprints winner of this race. And that Wales Racing Academy. Everyone just over here in Guisborough, of course, it's a bank holiday. Just banging the boards, getting into the racing. They really have started to embrace it as the racing has gone on here this evening. So the WIV Sungod team, its various inceptions, very successful in this race, in this series, are this team. Cameron Mason there for Trinity Racing. Let's see what Cameron Mason can do. Nice to see Cameron out on the road. He's in the blue, the Scottish rider. Great cyclocross rider is Cameron Mason. There's a few Scots in here, all coached by James McCallum. Cameron Mason being one. Finn Crockett. We're interested to see how Finn Crockett goes in this for Ribble Weltite. Crockett's had a great season so far. And we're in to the start-finish straight here. The bike will pull away, so they're right on the back of the bike. And we are off and racing. Away we go here in the Tour Series round 1. The clock starts, and we'll start to get the shakedown here and just see how this race is going to pan out. As you've seen from the sighting lap, it's very, very technical in nature. Kieran Riley on the front here for Team PB Performance. Matt Bostock, Thomas Mean and Jim Brown from With Sungod all up towards the front here. Freddie Sheshka in there for Team Spectra Wiggle Vitus. Miguel Fernandez, the rider from Global 6, who's right on the back of the bike. This is how this team always like to ride these races. 7 rounds in total this year is the Tour Series. This is round 1 here in Guisborough. Of course, we were here last year, and when we were, it was Matt Gibson that took the race by 1 minute and 26 seconds ahead of Joe Holt. Leon Mazzoni was 3rd, 1 minute and 28 back, and then Isaac Mundy, Charles Page, Blake Quick, Owain Roberts, Andy Tennant, Matt King and Reese Wood were your top 10. So if you weren't with us for the women's race, you can just see how technical this course is. And if you're down the back of a line such as this, if you've never ridden a criterium, and especially a pro rider level criterium at this speed, if you imagine trying to cling onto the back of a roller coaster by your fingertips, that's a bit what it's like trying to cling onto the back of a pro level crit when you find yourself right down the back on something this technical. So going through at the end of that lap, Matt Bostock and Thomas Mean really lining this one out. And Thomas Mean, the rider in 2nd spot here, another very talented cyclocross rider is Thomas Mean. Races on the road with with Sun God team, and a bit of a gap being left from there. You can see the Thomas Mean and Matt Bostock here, and that will send alarm bells ringing. Don't want to let two of these riders go clear. So if you haven't tuned into the Tour Series before, this is the first time we've gone live, but it's a team series, and that's what makes this this series just so different, because it's 4 riders to count. So although you have the glory of the victory on the night, we do celebrate the individual victory on the night. The series is all about the team, and that is, as I said, what makes it so unique within the world of cycling. And you'll see that, particularly as the series goes on, 7 rounds in total this year, but you see the whole dynamic within the race as the teams look around and try to collect all of their counting riders to sort of put themselves in a commanding position. So if you imagine 4 riders to count, if you can do what with Sun God are doing here and put 2 riders up the road on the first round, it starts to give you it puts you in a very commanding position, because this team as well, the teams like with Sun God, the teams like Ribble Weldtite as well, they know how to pack the front in the sprints. They know how to organise themselves in these races as well. So it's great to see both of these riders off the front. Thomas Mean and Matt Bostock. Bostock's good, strong track rider in the past as well, and you can see the reaction coming from the group behind. So Miguel Fernandez, and that really has got this race lined out already. As I said, I won't give you any spoilers for the women's race, but it pretty much went down in a fairly similar manner to this one on the first lap. Look at this. And this is in terms of the Tour Series, it's always that kind of baptism of fire. And it looks like a couple of riders might have gone down there, just coming out of that corner, just banging the brake levers. Back up to our leaders though, Thomas Mean and Matt Bostock. And it is a great tactic to use in a criterium, especially on a short circuit such as this, to just go on the opening lap, just make it super hard and really, and then just look back. And you saw Mean and Bostock do that, just absolutely threw it through the corners, look back, and all of a sudden they just cracked those chasers behind. And then you can just it's on a course such as this, you know, the two of you just can ride your own race. But I'm sure the rest of the riders behind are not done in this one, but this already is building into a really nice advantage. And you can see in this Guisborough course just how quickly, to use that cycling cliche, and apologies when I do, it's that out of sight, out of mind. And the Tour Series courses have always been traditionally very short, a kilometre sometimes. This one's 1.35 kilometres. This is kind of the longest section of the course, really, is the start finish straight. So it is, if you get a decent gap, it is enough to just, you know, to get kind of out of sight, out of mind. Back to the chasers, and it's St. Piran that are on the front doing the chasing. Charles Page just going through. Little flick of the elbow. Kian Watts from Global 6. Jim Brown just defending the front with Sun God. Matt Gibson not far away from the front of the group as well. See as well those groups. So let's run you down through your top 10 here at the moment. So your 2 leaders, Matt Bostock and Thomas Mean. Then in the group behind it was led through the line Charles Page, Kian Watts, Jim Brown, Dan Barnes from Team Spectral Wiggle, Kieran Riley from PB Performance, Noah Hobbs from Techers. We had Isaac Mundy from Spectral Wiggle, and then Matt Gibson from With Sun God was your top 10. Just outside your top 10, just so I can give you an idea of who is where in that group behind. So Miguel Fernandez of Global 6, 11th. Charlie Tanfield of Ribble Weldtite in 12th. Josh Charling in 13th for the Wales Racing Academy. Then Leon Mazzoni from St. Piran, Cameron McLaren from No Pins Motip. Then Tom Mazzoni from St. Piran, Oliver Rees, Max Walker, Stephen Bradbury and Tom Cousins were your top 20, with Harry Tanfield just outside the top 20 at the moment. I think that is Ben Chilton that is just coming through there. And in terms of the Tour Series this year, as our two leaders go through the line, so round 1 here in Guisborough, just so that you know where we're going. So Gallus Shields on Wednesday this week is round 2. Round 3 is in Sunderland. That's next Tuesday, the 10th of May. Round 4 is on Thursday, 12th of May in Stranraer. We then go to Clacton on the 19th of May. Round 6 in Barking on the 21st of May. And then our grand final is in Manchester on Tuesday, the 24th of May. And you can join us on our live stream for every single race. You can then check out the highlights on ITV4. And if you look close, go along, bang on the boards, celebrate the race as well. Come to your area. You can see already just inside 8 minutes of racing, and it is strung out behind, and those groups are just fighting to try and keep themselves within striking distance there at the moment, that group. The lap times, if you're interested, we do still have a fastest lap competition here in the Tour Series. So 1 minute 44.444 by Matt Bostock is the fastest lap, and 16.7 seconds I'm seeing is the gap between our two leaders and the chasers behind. So these two riders, and this will please team manager Tim Elverson. I'm sure this is the this has been the tactic. To just go out and make it super hard, and just don't let the teams have any opportunity to recover. Five laps completed by our two leaders. Back to the chasers, those Techers jerseys on the front. Max Walker of Trinity Racing just reacts, goes through. So Noah Hobbs from Techers well up there. So our lapped rider here has just latched onto our two leaders, and should do really. So Ben Chilton is a lap down, wearing number 31. And the rain is starting to fall again. You can see it was we just had little damp areas earlier on, but the rain is starting to fall. And look at the way Mean and Bostock are just taking these corners. So they swing right out of this section, and then it is a tight left, 90-degree left, and then another 90-degree left into the start-finish straight. So just over 9 minutes of racing so far. Two leaders here. Thomas Mean, national cyclocross champion, took that title this year. That was some battle as well when he took that title in Crawley. A real battle with Cameron Mason, who's in this race for the Trinity Racing team. It was an absolute mudfest when Thomas Mean won the national cyclocross championship. So Thomas Mean's wearing 16. Slightly taller of the two. Matt Bostock is wearing 15. So this is Thomas Mean on the back, Bostock on the front wearing 15, and you can see just starting to pick up some more riders just ahead of them. just going past. Bryn Davis, I think it was, from Embark. So we're just looking at where our group are. 23, just over 23 seconds. I'm seeing is the gap from our two leaders. And at the moment, the chase behind is not super organised. Sprint lap this time for Matt Bostock and Thomas Mean. So this competition as well is always a really prestigious one within the Tour Series. Is the sprint classification. Matt Gibson won it overall last year. So 5 riders to count, so 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1 points on offer. Leon Mazzoni leading through there for St. Piran. Charlie Tanfield up there for Ribble well tight. So Cian Watts, Jacob Scott and Matt Gibson. So with Sungod are really packing the front of this race, as you would expect. The history of the sprints competition as well, if we just go back 10 years, it's the 13th year of the Tour Series. So Bernie Salzberger in 2012, Tom Scully won it in 2013, John Mould in 2014, Morgan Kaniski in 2015, Rory Townsend won it in 2016, Sebastian Mora in 2017, Matt Gibson in 2018, then St. Piran's Steve Lampierre in 2019, and then we had the break in 2020, and then Matt Gibson last year. So in terms of our rounds last year, Matt Gibson won the first round, Will Roberts won round 2 in Sunderland, and then Charlie Tanfield won the grand final. But it was Ribble well tight that ran out the winners. Will they sprint it out, or will they just share it out amongst themselves? It depends which of the two of them, doesn't it? Which one feels that they might have the measure of other riders as this series goes on. But it's going to be Thomas Mean that takes maximum points. So Mean takes 5, Bostock takes the 4, and then we'll see who starts to sprint out of that group behind in terms of the points. Leon Mazzoni, Charlie Tanfield were up there for St. Piran and Ribble well tight the last lap, and now Ribble well tight and now through towards the front. They know they've got to chase this one. They know they've got to try and get this race under control. So the 3, 2 and 1 points go to Harry Tanfield, Charlie Tanfield, and then Leon Mazzoni. So Harry and Charlie Tanfield are now up towards the front. So clearly the brothers are starting to find their legs. And importantly, sometime in the Tour Series, it's not just your legs you need to find in the Tour Series sometimes, it's your lungs as well, because these races, the manner in which they're ridden is just absolutely brutal. And you can see the way that they've gone through. These are our back markers. This is one of our next groups on the road. So those riders are at 1 minute and 2, just over 1 minute, so 1 minute and 2. Luke Norris, Matt Warhurst, Mikey Mottram, James Bevan, Thomas Lauder, Max Silifant, James Bentley, Dave Roper, some of the riders that are in there. Three sprints in total. We've completed 8 laps of the race so far. If you are just joining us, you're just finding our live stream here, welcome along. Thanks for your company. It's the sportsbreaks.com Tour Series Round 1 here in the market town of Guisborough, and it is an hour and 5 laps of racing on a circuit here. 1.35 kilometre circuit. It's got 12 corners, a very technical course. And it was the With Sungod riders, Matt Bostock and Thomas Mean, that really just have ripped this race up from the start. And just see one of our Spectra Wiggle riders there. Looks like might have gone, just shaking his hand out, might have gone down on that corner. And they are leading. And the bunch being led here by Harry and Charlie Tanfield. And they are at 30 seconds. So the gap between our two leaders and our chasers is 30 seconds. You can see the gaps in the bunch and just how technical this course is. It is like, it's the kind of whiplash. It's going through this circuit. It just breaks it up under the pressure. But the Tanfield brothers, Harry and Charlie, are now recognizing that they have to try and chase this one down or keep the tempo quick on the front of this. So 4 riders to count in total in the Tour Series to give for the general classification, and that is what it's all about. If you're tuning in for the first time, we celebrate our individual winner. We love our individual winner, but it's a team competition, and that is what makes the Tour Series so special. So 10 points to the winning team, down to 1 point for the 10th place team, and then the top 4 riders will count in this one towards the general classification. So a little sketchy moment there in that one. And then we have our intermediate sprints throughout the race. 3 sprint laps, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 points are on offer on our sprint laps. So we have all of those. So you can see there as well. At this point, the lap riders do get pulled out later on, in case you are wondering, but you just got to be as vocal as you can in terms of letting the riders know that you're coming. We are now starting to see some reaction in the bunch behind. Leon Mazzoni there, the Isle of Man going through. Matt Gibson just defending for with Sungod. Harry and Charlie Tanfield, Kieran Watts, Jim Brown, Noah Hobbs and Isaac Mundy just going through the finish line this time. Next group, so another one of our lap riders just getting picked up by the charging twosome at the head of the race. So Matt Bostock, 24 years old, on the front from Douglas in the Isle of Man. Very experienced and very successful track rider as well, Matt Bostock. Won the National Elite Circuit Series in his career as well as multiple rounds of that one. Had some good placings on the road as well last year in some of the adventures of his team out into Europe. European under-23 champion in the team pursuit on a couple of occasions as well in his career. I remember I did the team, I helped did their team launch a couple years ago, quite a few years ago now. And I always remember, because I used to kind of announce at the national track champs and things as well, so I always used to see Matt Bostock. And it was just it was a special moment, because I said, are you gonna be jumping backwards and forwards? Well, with enthusiasm, gonna be jumping back in, do some track, and it's one of those moments. It's just like, no, that's it. That was just the one word answer, which Matt Bostock. I always thank him for that one. Chasers, there's Alec Briggs just towards the back of the group there for Techers. Alec Briggs. If you love your fixed gear crit racing, Alec Briggs coming into the Tour Series after another victory in the Rad Race Last Man Standing over in Berlin. And if you love a crit, if you've never seen a fixed gear crit, go and check it out. It's next level craziness is a fixed gear criterion. Say you can't stop pedaling, but if you look at the way Thomas Mean and Matt Bostock are riding this course, there's not a huge amount of freewheeling from these two riders through this course. Thomas Mean, though, he really is carving out such a good career in cyclocross as well in Europe. As I said, he won the British National Cyclocross Championships this year, and that was big moment as well for Thomas. I mean, he had a lot of illness and injury over the course of the winter as well. So it was really good to see him sort of come back from that and win that British title. And it was a real fight between him and Cameron Mason. And you're getting a good view here as well of a cyclocross rider, like the level of Thomas Mean in terms of what is becoming a fairly wet, sketchy criterium course around here in Guisborough. Our chasing group going through. So Global 6 Cycling, that's up there. Kian Watts, 43 seconds is the gap from our leaders back to our chasers. So Jacob Scott and Matt Gibson for with Sungod are chasing. Then you've got Noah Hobbs, Ollie Rees, Charlie Tanfield, Isaac Mundy, and Jim Brown. So the with Sungod team going through the line that time. The two leaders, 4th and 5th and 10th through the line this time. So remember, as we said, 4 riders to count. And they're just outside your top 10. So Cameron Mason for Trinity Racing is in 11th. Charles Page, Leon Mazzoni, Josh Tarling, Harry Tanfield, William Trulove, Max Walker, Joe Holt, Owain Roberts, and Cameron McLaren. It rounds out your top 20 here at the moment. So one of our lap riders is just kind of latching on to our leaders here at the moment. We'll be heading towards our next sprint in a few laps time. We've completed 13 laps in total. We've just over 24 minutes of racing, and our fastest lap is still 1:44.444 by Matt Bostock, and they're wearing number 15. He's got our fastest lap, so 1:44.601 for Thomas Mean. See just about to they've got that large group in their sights now ahead of them, so this will be as well just about timing the catch to that group as well. You see, they don't want to get it when they're perhaps too narrow in that course. It's easier said than done to try and manage that, but you can see those blue jerseys with Sungod just running a little bit of subtle interference towards the front, just really showing those blue jerseys towards the front. Charlie Tanfield leading through that time. It's a real masterclass we've been given here, being able to follow Thomas Mean and Matt Bostock through these corners. You can see the rain just on the lens of the camera. It hasn't really come to a lot. It's just a light dusting of rain here in this one. So the weather today is just as it would, cooled down a little bit as the evening went on. It's about 9 degrees. That's about 49 Fahrenheit. And they've got a 16-kilometre-hour northerly wind. So this is good timing. You can see as we exit into the start-finish straight, it means that it's nice and wide through here. So hopefully they can get themselves past this this group of back markers before they get into the technical parts of the course just ahead of them. So we'll see if they get to warn this group and let them know that they're coming, and give the two leaders fair run into the technical section. But it looks like they might not make it through to the front of the group before they get into that that next left-hand corner. So they'll just let that group know, the motorbike's letting this group know that the leaders are coming. So into there, and unfortunately you can see there, just get a little pinch there as they swing left now into Walker's Row. And again, the motorbike just trying to let the riders know that it's there. So left turn into Walker's Row, then they swing right, tight right into Northgate, back to the front of the chasing group, and it's the Trinity Racing colours that are on the front. Oliver Rees leads through. But Jacob Scott and Matthew Gibson still there for With Sungott. So they're doing a phenomenal job, you would say, here at the moment in terms of managing this one. But you've got to look, a minute 44. So the two leaders are within a minute of lapping the entire field in this one. So that when you're in this position as well, that's your next objective, isn't it, as a criterium rider? It's a special thing to lap. If you can lap the entire field as a criterium rider, it's something special. I remember when I first got into cycling and we had the Kellogg's City Centre series, showing my age now, but Phil Anderson was one of my favourite riders growing up, and I think it was, I can't remember which race, I think it was Glasgow. I remember sitting absolutely enthralled watching him lap the field in the Kellogg's City Centre racing. It was phenomenal to watch. That's always as a crit rider, your objective when you get this far off the front is thinking, okay, they're not coming back, let's lap the field. And looking at the way these two are going, they're absolutely flying. We are on to sprint lap 2. And remember, this is, as we said, the sprints competition in the sportsbreaks.com Tour Series is there's a lot of prestige in this sprints competition as well. And as the series goes on, we see, and we have seen in previous years of this series, huge lead outs as well into sprint laps as well for that intermediate sprints jersey, the freeworld.co.uk sprints jersey. The Tekkers colours, Noah Hobbs on the front for Team Tekkers. This is Alec Briggs' team, and a team that really are kind of breaking the mould really of teams, and what Alec is trying to do with this team, and it's got a really kind of different outlook, you would say, in terms of and how he looks after his riders as well. Very, very popular rider and team principal is Alec Briggs. As I said, he's just next level crazy as well with the fixed gear crit racing. Go check it out. Alec Briggs, give him a follow. He did some great videos of the last man standing race, which is on an indoor go-kart track in Berlin. Which if you watch these riders go through here and then go through a very tight go-kart track, just locking the bike up and sliding the bike out through the corners. Up towards the line, and it's going to be Thomas Mean that leads through to make his total on the night is 10 points here for Thomas Mean, so 5 points to Mean. Bostock next, and there's the group just behind. They really put the hammer down in this one. That's your lapped group. My apologies, just getting my groups slightly mixed up there. Just look down at my notes and back up again. So I was just getting the group. That was the group that they have just lapped. So Bostock 5 and 4. Harry and Charlie Tanfield led through the bunch on the last sprint lap. So the gap really growing, isn't it, here in Guisborough? Matt Bostock just taking the opportunity to grab himself a drink. Thomas Mean, a couple of World Cup cyclocross victories in his career as well. Tabor in the Czech Republic has always been a great venue for him. He's won a couple of under-23 cyclocross World Cups over there as well, so medaling in European under-23 cross champs as well. Look at those blue jerseys though at the front. So the first 4 riders through the line that time, Thomas Mean and Matt Bostock in the break, Jacob Scott and Matthew Gibson on the front for With Sungott, then Ollie Rees, Cian Watts of Global 6, Max Walker of Trinity Racing is now up there in 7th, Isaac Mundy of Spectra Wiggle Vitus, Noah Hobbs of Tekkers, Leon Mazzoni. That's your top 10 through the line, but importantly as well, With Sungott, an absolute veritable masterclass here in crit racing as well, you would say here this evening. The way they have set this one up really shows their intent for the rest of the series, doesn't it? I'll run you through your top 20 just so as our leaders just come through the line this time, just so that you can follow some of the other riders that you might be cheering on our live stream. So William Trulove of Wales Racing Academy 11th, Jim Brown in that chasing group in 12th, Charlie Tanfield of Ribble Well Tight Cameron Mason in 14th for Trinity. Then you got 3 Wales Racing Academy riders, Joe Holt, Will Roberts and Josh Tarling. Tom Cousins 18th for Embark Bike Strong. Charles Page for St. Piran is 19th, and Dan Barnes of Team Spectra Wigglebitis is in 20th. That is your top 20 here at the moment, and our leaders just picking up some more lap riders. And the St. Piran team, as we said, they won the sprints classification with Steve Lampierre a couple of series ago. And again, another team that are doing things a little bit different are St. Piran, and they've just set up a new kind of hub in an old, it's an old bank in their hometown. They're building like a setting up like a community hub as well. And there's loads of things that St. Piran are doing. Those black jerseys with the Cornish tartan on them. It's one of my favourite jerseys out there at the moment, that jersey. Chasers, Matt Gibson. So Matt Gibson this year, if you're a fan of Matt Gibson, if you watched the Tour Series last year, Matt Gibson now in the blue of the With Sun God team. He won this race a year ago. If you are just finding our live stream, welcome along. Thanks for joining us. It's great to have your company here this evening for round 1. We are in Guisborough, the market town of Guisborough for round 1. And your 2 leaders are Thomas Mead and Matthew Bostock of the With Sun God team. And it's last year, it was Ribble Weldtite that won this series overall, ahead of this team here, Canyon DHB Sun God, as they were last year, and the Wales Racing Academy were 3rd overall. And this series, now in its 13th season, its unique team format is something just a little bit different in the world of cycling, and it always delivers us very exciting racing, and always, again, it shows as well as the year goes on as well, these teams, how much they invest in this series. And Tim Elverson's team, he has always really invested in the Tour Series. And Tim, you will see him in the pits as well. You'll see him at the side. He normally has a whiteboard. He has a playbook that he writes, and gives his riders, gives his plays and moves in the race different names, so that the other teams, to try and run again a little bit of interference from the other teams in the race as to what they're doing. But they really plan this as a series, right down to those little things, and those small things, as they all say, it's the small things that make that big difference, and they certainly do for this team. And you can see now, you can see just how quick these 2 riders are lapping on this course. So the gap between Matt Bostock and Thomas Mead to the chasing group behind now is 1 minute and 10 seconds, so 1:10.577. And I know a lot of you are on Facebook and you're all chatting as well on the live streams, the various live streams, you're having a chat. So you can start it now, have a little discussion. Are they going to lap the field? Yes or no? Do you think they're going to lap the entire field in this one? Because we're only 35 minutes of racing into this one, and we are an hour plus 5 laps in total. So you can all start a little discussion amongst yourselves. I can't keep an eye on it while I'm commentating, but if you want to have a little discussion on the various chats on the live streams, have a go at that. Will Thomas Mead and Matt Bostock lap the entire field in this one? They're looking absolutely phenomenal here at the moment. So we've gone through 35 minutes and 9 seconds of racing when we went through the line the last time. And in terms of the team classification, just looking down through that group behind, 7 rounds in total this year, and 10 points go to the winning team, down to 1 point for 10th. And it's, as we said a little bit earlier on, 4 riders to count. And the boys in the dark blue, this is the Trinity Racing colours, in the light blue, that are up there. Cameron Mason just leading the group through. Good to see Cam Mason out there in the criteriums. Another very multi-discipline rider is Cameron Mason. Races the mountain bike. Real big tumble last year did Cameron Mason on the mountain bike, but he's another rider who, just watching his progress over the last couple of seasons in cyclocross has been to come from Scotland and race in Belgium as Cameron Mason has done, and him and his dad used to get the ferry down and across to the Netherlands in order to allow him to a lot of weekends to go and race. But he's 21 years old, and he had a great winter this winter as well. So he got many rounds, got a couple of wins in the national series race, but he was doing some real battles as well, was Cam Mason, in the under 23 World Cup. So one of his big rivals is Pim Ronhaar, and he took his first under 23 World Cup in Dendermonde in the winter as well. So he took a 5th place in the World Under 23 Championships as well over in Fayetteville in the USA. So him and Thomas Mean, who's in the breakaway group here, that if you weren't in Crawley for the National Cyclocross Championships, the mud there was something to behold. And these two, I think there's going to be a real rivalry between Thomas Mean and Cam Mason in those National Cyclocross Championships as well for many years to come. I'm being told it's 1:20 now is the gap from our leaders to this to the bunch here. This is the peloton, and as I said a little bit earlier on, 1:44 they are lapping, so that's their fastest lap so far. Their last lap was a 1:49.579. They've completed 20 laps of total, so they are just entering the start-finish straight, and we have just seen the peloton go through the lines. So as we get into the second half of this race, is the big catch on here this evening. That would be a big moment for this team and these two riders if they can lap the entire field here on round 1 of the sportsbreaks.com Tour Series. It really shows that they are here and they mean business in this series yet again. They always come into this series. They're like, you know, they just throw everything they can. We've had some great battles between this team and the likes of JLT Condor and Madison Genesis, and great battle last year as well with the Ribble Well type team. Starting to get a little bit of a shower though here as well. So you can see a few rain spots just on the lens of the camera. This is a group of lap riders just going through. So just get an idea. So that was the big group that we saw lapped a little while ago. It's a great shot, this, isn't it, from our bike, just to show you the line that these two are taking through these corners. If you weren't with us at the start of our live stream and our live action and wonder how this race got to this point, it was right on the opening lap, right after the sighting lap, where Thomas Mead and Matt Bostock threw down the challenge here this evening to everyone, and they managed to just crack the group. They got a small gap and they have not looked back since, have these two riders. Once they looked back, Mead just took a huge look back over his shoulder, and that was it. They didn't need a second invitation to go here in this one. And just as you would expect, the two teammates just very, very workmanlike in their laps here, just sharing the pace on the front. So just over 40 minutes of racing we have had so far, 22 laps completed. And if you are tuning in from somewhere in the world, you're not sure where we are, so Guisborough, we're in North Yorkshire if you want to find us on the map, and where stage 4 of this year's Tour of Britain will take place. Redcar to Duncan Park, Helmsley. We will have a stage of the Tour of Britain here. Just the lap records here in Guisborough. So the lap record, Finn Crockett holds the lap record with 142.407, and Abby Smith has the women's record 153.971. But now with the rain falling, it's I don't think we will get that here this evening. But 144.444 was not far away, just a couple seconds down, as we just start to pick up some more lap riders out here on the course. So getting into this section now, we just sweep round through Priory Close, back into the circuit, and then it's that right into Reed Terrace, and left again. Jacob Scott on the front with Matt Gibson. They've got to get wise to this one, haven't they? Or they'll the two leaders won't be far away. So with Zungod have just parked the bus on the front of the peloton at the moment, and they're just letting them do it. We're looking down the start-finish straight. Here come our leaders. And they really, on this long section, they'll start to see that group now ahead of them. They're not that far away from the coattails of the main part of the bunch. But in terms of the team classification, so that group will still get to sprint out for their placings. So, as we said, 4 riders to count. So even if the 2 riders here do lap the field, remember it's a team series, and the bunch will get to sprint for their placings. So 10 points to the winners of the team classification on the night, down to 1 point for 10th placed team. But there, as we always say, there is the glory of winning the individual round on the night, but also it's winning it in a manner such as this as well. And last year, Matt Gibson won it on his own. He was a minute and 26 seconds ahead of Joe Holt. Last year was Matt Gibson. So this is another one of our lapped groups just going through. This is our second visit to Guisborough in the history of the Tour Series, and it has given us a good couple of races. Back to our peloton. Cameron Mason still on the front for Trinity Racing. A minute 28.857 is the gap. And there's your 2 leaders just coming around the corner. As I said earlier on, as a Criterium rider, this is what you want. These are the moments you live for. Claxon this time. We're into the sprint lap, so our third and final sprint of the evening. Thomas Mean has had the first 2, so we'll pull on that jersey, and I'm sure his teammate Matt Bostock, if Thomas Mean feels that he can challenge for this competition. Just going past the pits there. As I said, Tim Elverson will be giving them a warning just to let them know where that group is just ahead of them. They would want to make that catch. They've got plenty of time to do it. So in 1 hour plus 5 laps of racing. So we're coming up to the 3/4 of an hour point in this one here this evening. So there is still plenty of time, just little by little, just clawing their way across the gap to the leading group. This is your third bunch on the road there as they go through. Mean and Bostock. There's just that unsaid communication between the 2 of them, isn't there? Just instinctively as teammates, you start to really get and know how each other are looking on the bike, how they're feeling. This is your leaders. This is your bunch, rather. They're getting the warning. This time you can see the Ribble Well-Tight riders just trying to encourage everyone to come through. So here are your leaders round the corner. Put a little stopwatch on and we'll see what the gap is. as they go through the line this time. So they are, by my calculation, 12 seconds now off the back of the main group. We'll see how that changes as the lap goes on. So 12.90 is my calculation, give or take a few fractions of when I started the stopwatch. But that's the chase. There they are, just ahead. Will they lap the field here in this one? And for Thomas Mean as well, it's good to see him really again as a multi-discipline rider. Just, you know, really as the years are going on now. So I'm getting a little bit of word, a little bit of inside info from the side that that the team director is potentially telling them not to lap the field. So we'll see how that one pans out. Get a little bit of inside info here on the out there on the road. And that's the moment as well. Do you go on? Because I was lucky enough for many years to be a team manager in the Tour Series with Dave Serastori's team being one of them, and you'd stand in the pits shouting at your riders, and then they would come across at the end of the race and were like, couldn't hear a word you were saying, couldn't hear anything you were saying all night, and you were there just hollering, trying to give them instructions, but they would come past at the end and you're like, nah, couldn't hear a word you were saying. So there is that potential as well. They're just going through there, so 48 minutes and 17 seconds of racing, so that shows as well just how close this is getting now. Mean and Bostock. There's the group just ahead. But will they obey the team orders as well? So they'll go past the pits as well and just try and hear what's going on. Just as well, you can just see Matt Bostock there as well, just grabbing a gel out of his pocket. Riding this for over an hour racing. It's good sometimes in a crit just to have a gel. You can see the riders got bottles on the bike, just having a gel. Sometimes the riders gel in the pocket or up the leg of your shorts. Bostock, as I said, had some good races last year. Took a 7th in Cholet Pays de Loire, 6th in High Sapel last year as well in his career. But he's definitely really established himself as a solid rider within that team. Turned pro for them in 2019. Our two leaders, they're just off the back of the group here. So will they go straight past? So 50 minutes, so an hour plus 5 laps is the total time of the race here this evening. You can just see how this Guisborough course just flows here. Mean pressing on. You start to get that pull off the group in front as well when you get to this point. At this, you would say now it's almost virtually impossible for these two not to lap the field. Again, look at the way Thomas Mean is just cutting these corners as well. And that Bostock, you can see Bostock as well, just laying off a touch through the corner as well. Swing left through this section. And into the this sweeping part of the course. So they've lapped that one big group out on the out on the course. So in terms of the lap times today, these two are 4 seconds ahead of the next fastest rider I can see in terms of the fastest lap so far here this evening, and they are just about to make the catch now. So Thomas Mean and Matt Bostock, if you said they were going to lap the entire field, you were right. Here they go into the start-finish straight. Cam Mason is still on the front. Here they come around onto the back of the group. That is a special moment as well for these two riders. 50 meters to go up towards the line. 28 laps of racing are done. So they're almost there. Are they going to kick back a little bit? They're not quite there. That front angle there just foreshortened it very slightly. It's just a few seconds. Will they just sit off the back of the group for a little bit now? So Mean and Bostock just having a little word to each other as they go through here. I will just see as they go past the pits if we can get an idea of what the team principal is saying. Some riders here just sitting up on the back of the group. So remember, lap riders will be pulled out. So this group will still get to sprint out for their placings, of course. But Mean and Bostock are now just on the back of the group. What a night. If you weren't with us on the opening lap, it was after the sighting lap. These two just hit the front, and then there was that one rider fairly close to the front who just couldn't hold the wheel, just had to swing out of the line. And that was it. It was just 1 meter became 10, became 20, became 100, and then it's now a full lap on the entire field for the two With Sun God riders. Cameron Mason still doing his best on the front here for Trinity Racing. The two teammates, Jacob Scott and Matt Gibson, of the two riders that are on the back of the group. Will they go through? They've just sat off the back of the group here, so 53 minutes and 52 seconds of racing. There's a lot of chat now going on between the two of them, isn't there? It gives you, if they do go past, their teammates will get to sprint out for their placings, and then these two can just have their lap of honour. They can have their moment of glory and just enjoy the moment and sprint it out for the individual victory. Thomas Mean has decided to go past, start to go past here. So they'll just let everyone know that they're coming. Matt Bostock will want to stick to the wheel of his teammate as they just pick their way through the group now. You can see a few looks, a few quick glances as the leaders go through. Just now, in terms of this one. Joe Schillerbeer here for 05s on the back. Wearing 122. Back to the front, Matt Gibson it is, that's on the front. The winner here last year. Just a little flick of the elbow. Josh Tarling coming through for the Wales Racing Academy. You can see Josh Tarling getting up there. Fabulous track rider is Josh Tarling. Comes into this Tour Series after a successful National Track Championships. Great time trialist on the road as well is the young Welsh rider. So you can see him up towards the front. Cian Watts, Jacob Scott, Cameron Mason, Leon Mazzoni, Noah Hobbs and Finn Crockett were your top 10 going through the line
that time, including my two leaders, Thomas Mean and Matt Bostock. I'll just run you through your top 20 just to give you a few other riders in terms of this group and who's still in here. So Cameron McLaren, Isaac Mundy, Jim Brown, Max Walker, William Truelove, Henry Green, Oliver Rees from Trinity Racing, Tom Cousins from Embark, Kieran Riley from Team PB Bike Performance, Charles Page from St. Piran, Joe Holtz from Wales Racing Academy, Ben Tucker are also still in there. But we are 5 laps to go this time, so 5 laps remaining. So it's going to come down to a battle between Matt Bostock and Thomas Mean for the individual win on the night. And with Sun God are looking very, very good and in a commanding position for that that team performance. Also still in there, Will Roberts, Neil Phillips, John Mould, Harry Tanfield, Alec Briggs, Owain Roberts, Theo Obholder, Dan Barnes, Kai Davis, Steve Bradbury, and then on the back here, Joe Schiller-Beer. So that is still who is in this main part of the peloton. It has split considerably, and our two leaders lapped another sizable group a little bit earlier on this evening. But he's doing a good night, showing his colours on the front. Is Cameron Mason from Scotland. So the Trinity Racing rider leads through. 30 laps completed. So our leaders go through. Get 4 laps to go this time. So now it'll be up to those officials to just manage everything and make sure that the two leaders get their opportunity now to just sprint this one out. And you can see the damage that them going through has done. It's considerably up to the pace in that group, as well as they've kind of realised as well that that the catch is made. Is that Bostock and Mean just still there, just on the back of the group there? It looks like it is. The pace has gone up considerably in this one. And the difference is a lap. But still the fastest rider on the night is Matt Bostock with that 1:44. That is our fastest lap. So again, it's always been another prestigious thing, is getting that fastest lap on the night. It's a good prize to chase, is the fastest lap competition. Schiller-Beer just towards the back here. So trying to close up at the front, but our two leaders are just still sat down the back of the group here. They haven't gone past the entire group. Looks like they're just going to sit it out on this one at the back of the group, and then perhaps just drop off again as they go through and sprint it out between the two of them. But what a night, you would say, from them. And again, another great opportunity to see this team. So they're just going to look there. It looks like they are. They're just going to drop off here. And then just carry on working. 3 laps to go this time. So they're just going to let that group go. They'll just keep working well together here and then sprint it out between the two of them. That was an absolute, it has been a real show from these two tonight. And what can they do in the rest of the series? If you're interested as well, just to make sure you stay with us for the Tour Series, we go to Gala Shields this Wednesday. And a really good course that they've put together in Gala Shields, so this Wednesday. So that is round 2. Round 3 is next Tuesday, the 10th of May. So put that in your diary, that we go to Sunderland next. But there are some really, there's some very, very fast and some really nice technical courses to come throughout this Sports Breaks Tour Series for 2022, the 13th year of this series, the team competition. As we said, it is about the bragging rights. So this is the sprints for our lapped riders. So our lapped riders just crossing the line there. We'll just I'll just give you an idea of who they are. So Cameron Jeffers, Tom Mazzoni, Mikey Mottram, Thomas Lowther, Matt King, all in that group there, sprinting it out. They are in 34th. that group. So it just shows just how many riders are still in this one. Looking at this group, Matt Gibson now attacks for with Sun God. Can they make it a clean sweep? The rest of the teams in this one, you know they're going to come back fighting. This has been an absolute baptism of fire again in the Tour Series tonight. This is a Tour Series, a vintage Tour Series. This one, if you've been following this series for years, you'll know it's always delivered some spectacular nights of racing. And I'd say this one, these two lapping the entire field, is definitely up there with on those big nights here in the Tour Series. Mean and Bostock, you know that they won't be done in this series as well in terms of victories, but where is that individual win going on the night as well? There is that that prestige of that one. Who has the edge? Does Matt Bostock perhaps have the edge, maybe, in the sprint? Mean though, cross rider, multi-discipline rider, got a good kick on him. We know the two of them. There'll be no gifts in this one, I'm sure. We'll have a real battle between these two for the individual victory. And then it'll be up to the team behind. So Matt Gibson leading the group through. Jacob Scott also up towards the front. So they're really, again, they're packing that group behind the With Sun God team. So they went through the line in first, second, fourth and fifth on that occasion. So it's up to Ribble well tight. There are teams that have still got riders in there. 2 laps to go this time. So just trying to encourage a little bit of work there. Kian Watts from Global 6. Noah Hobbs and Teckers still keeping his position up towards the front. Finn Crockett, 1 lap to go. But Thomas Mean and Matt Bostock here this evening, they get the bell, the welcome sound of the bell ringing in their ears. An absolutely phenomenal ride tonight for these two riders through the sight lap. They went and they have not looked back. But where is the single individual victory going between the two of them? And if anyone doubted that this team were coming back in looking to try and retain the title that they won in 2018 and 2019, they will be without a doubt now know that they mean business in this one. They lost the title last year to Ribble well tight, and Tim Elverson and his team want to get it back. We're lining up last few corners now for our two leaders. Now, the last couple of corners, and they've just got that lap rider just ahead of them. So it's just the left and then swing round through this section of the course. So a sweeping right. They just want to get past this rider here. Little chat between the two of them. How are they going to fight this one out? A little bit of a chat. So Matt Bostock moves through towards the front. So final corners now. They've got a left and a left again. And it's 150 meters from that bottom corner. Hands on the tops. How are we going to finish this one off? So final turn here between Mean and Bostock. Are they going to cross the line together? This was the other thing that they could do. So Thomas Mean and Matt Bostock, are they going to go Le Monde Eno style? They sit up, and it looks like Thomas Mean crosses the line first. Nice sprint out between the two riders, Mean and Bostock. An absolutely phenomenal night for these two riders, and now our attention turns to the team competition, not just for this first round here, but for the rounds to come. Harry Tanfield led the bunch through for Ribble well tight. Isaac Mundy was up there. Finn Crockett was there as well. We'll see if any of the teams have managed to pack the front. But there's your replay of the finish. Thomas Mean and Matt Bostock. A great start to the sportsbreaks.com Tour Series here in Guisborough this evening. for the With Sun God team. What a performance. And we will look back. Alec Briggs is going to wheelie across the line. Alec Briggs crosses the line, and it's going to be a sprint out for the group. Is it Tanfield and Crockett that are up towards the front? So Ribble well tight. That's not a disaster for Ribble well tight. So 3rd and 4th, I think, for Ribble well tight. Isaac Mundy up there as well. This is your next group, just crossing the line. So the little splits there. So Harry Tanfield and Finn Crockett, Matt Gibson leading in 5th there. Noah Hobbs from Techers, Leon Mazzoni, Jacob Scott, Charles Page and Owain Roberts are your top 10. So an hour of 5, 21.125. So there's Harry Tanfield and Finn Crockett taking 3rd and 4th for the defending champions. And then next, so just looking for With Sun God, so the next counting riders for Ribble well tight, just having a look where they were. So Cameron Jeffers and Matt King, 32nd, 33rd, there you have it. So there's your sprint. That is a really good start for St. Piran. Leon Mazzoni 7th, Charles Page 9th. Wales Racing Academy actually have had a fairly good night. Owen Roberts in 10th, Joe Holt 11th. They've got Josh Tarling in 13th place for the Wales Racing Academy, and Will Roberts finished in 28th place for them. So lots of calculations to go on. I'll leave that to the organisers. Anyone knows me knows I'm rubbish at maths, but I'll try my best. Here's your winners though, getting to do their lap of honour here in Guisborough this evening, and to take that. And Thomas Mead was the rider wearing 16 there that crossed the line first, and he will add his name to a famous roll call of honour in the Tour Series as a round winner. They'll get themselves, hopefully, to the podium. Thanks for your company here on our live stream. I hope you've enjoyed the live racing. Don't forget, we got highlights on ITV4 tomorrow night as well, so you can tune in, watch it all over again if you want to. But I hope you enjoyed for the first time bringing you the Tour Series live, and you're getting to see the race unfold in its entirety there as well, and a real spectacular show of strength from this team and these two riders in terms of lap of the field. They just really cracked everyone on that first lap, didn't they? And there was just no coming back from it. But then again, as we said, it's a team series, so it's all about packing the front of that group behind. Even if these two riders go clear lap of the field, it's all about getting as many riders in that group behind to count towards your team standings. So Harry Tanfield and Finn Crockett taking 3rd and 4th, and then looking down through the group. So as I said, Wales Racing Academy have a good night there, 3rd and 4th. The 3rd and 4th for Ribble well tight, a little bit further down. Wales Racing Academy have had a strong night here in this one as well. And Wales Racing Academy, so last year, just give you your team, so it was Ribble well tight, 1 point separated the two teams last year between them and Canyon DHB Sun God as they were last year. Wales Racing Academy were 3rd, then Crimson Orientation Marketing were 4th at 32, Spectra Wiggle Vitus 5th at 23 with Scotland in 6th, Techers was 7th with 20, St. Piran 8th overall, Spirit Bone Traeger 19th, the Richardson's Track were 12th last year in the overall standings. But a good start, I'm sure you will agree to this one. So we will go from the historic market town of Guisborough, here in the foot of the Cleveland Hills, and we will head to Galashiels next for round 2. So make sure you join us on Wednesday, 4th May, so you've got a couple of days. And the men's race is at 5:30 and the women's race is at 7:30. So we're going to switch around in rounds between men's race first, women's race first, women's race first, men's race first. So that's how it's going to go. So your men's race is at 5:30 on Wednesday, live here, and then your women's race will be at 7:30. And Gala Shields, if you're interested, if you want to check it out, is located on the Scottish border and Scottish borders. And stage 2 of this year's Tour of Britain will take place in this area as well. So you can put that one in your diary as well. Gala Shields, and it's just outside Abbotsford. It's the home of Sir Walter Scott. So we will go there next. And then from there, so if you weren't with us, if you've been with me for the whole duration of the live stream, thanks for your company. So excuse me if I do repeat myself. But round 3, we go to Sunderland on the 10th of May. That's a good course as well. It's a big rectangle and it's fast. And then we go to another new one. We go to Stranraer on Thursday, the 12th of May. And then we move to Clacton. Clacton is Thursday, the 19th of May. We've had many a stage finish of races in Clacton over the years. A few time trials of races, Tour of Britain and Women's Tour finishing there as well. The Sunshine Coast, as it's called, Clacton. Then we go to Barking for round 6 on Saturday, the 21st of May. And then our grand finale, our grand final will be Tuesday, the 24th of May in Manchester. So check that one out. And if you haven't found it and you want more info, if you found the live stream anywhere else, I'm sure the link is everywhere around the live stream. But tourseries.co.uk is the website address if you want to keep an eye on what we're doing here in the sportsbreaks.com Tour Series. Thanks to our new title sponsor in this one for this year. And an hour plus 5 laps of racing we have had in total. So I'm sure anyone that knows any of these teams and riders know that the rest of the teams tonight will come back angry for round 2. So I think we'll be in for a treat in Gala Shields on Wednesday. I know we know that, knowing what Tour Series history is like in this one. So stay with us for your podium if you want to celebrate the riders that have entertained you here this evening. So the riders will just be getting themselves warmed up, just get themselves ready for the podium.
Going all the way through the Highlands of Aberdeenshire.
So plenty more racing to come in the series, and Thomas Mean will also take that first all-important sprints jersey as well. But there's still a long way to go. 7 rounds in total this year, and anything can happen. And we know as well from history of years gone by that you can see how quickly, you know, on a very short technical circuits that we've got in this series, you can see it can change just on the, you know, the flip of a coin, how quickly the dynamic of a race. One day, you know, you're dominating everything, and then the next race it just all comes unstuck. And you can see how quick, how fast these courses are that they put together for the Tour Series. So plenty more, I'm sure, really exciting racing to come in the course of the next 7 rounds. 6 rounds rather to come, 7 in total. So we'll have our individual winner and our team, I'm sure, presented on the podium. Here we go then, almost there for the podium. So Thomas Mean and Matt Bostock, what a form they have come into this series with here tonight. So freewheel.co.uk are jersey sponsors. We have a blue Sprints jersey and our yellow Leaders jersey, so you're watching out for them in the next rounds. So we are almost ready to go here in our podium. And it's great to see a town such as Guisborough really getting behind the Tour Series. Here's your individual winner on the night, Thomas Mean from Whipsungod, crossing the line with his teammate. But he takes the individual win on the night. So we were waiting, weren't we, whether they were going to sprint it out, but they decided to cross the line together. And then we will wait for our team on the night, and they will be the first leaders of the sportsbreaks.com Tour Series for 2022. And looking to regain that title that they lost last year. Thomas Mean is back. So we're just waiting for the Whipsungod team. Here they are onto the podium for the team on the night. What a team performance for them. So just to give you the full lineup, so Jacob Scott, Jim Brown, Matt Gibson, Matt Bostock, and Thomas Mean are your team. Matt Bostock back onto the podium. That was your fastest lap on the night, Matt Bostock, 1:44.444. So we're going to go to our Sprints jersey next. Thomas Mean pulls on that blue Sprint Leaders jersey for the next round. So freewheel.co.uk, blue Sprints jersey.
We'll see national cyclocross champions sprinting it out, I'm sure, in rounds to come. That team as well have really targeted that jersey well over the years. Rory Townsend, it was always a jersey for Rory that he always targeted coming into these races as well. So we've had our individual winning team on the night. We're now going to have our team leaders, and you'll see the jerseys that you're going to watch out for when we go to Gala Shield. So here in the first round, it's the winning team on the night, but it is the With Sun God team that are leading overall in those freewheel.co.uk yellow jerseys. And they are the first leaders of the sportsbreaks.com Tour Series for 2022. And a lot of experience in that team to defend this going forward. But they are going to have their work cut out with 6 tough rounds to come. Thanks for your company this evening. I hope you enjoyed watching the Tour Series live for the first time. I will see you on Wednesday. From me, Martin McDonald. Bye for now.